Beautiful. Good morning, good morning. So, this is just a quick chance for me to give you a little extra information. At the beginning of class, I want to have the lightest touch before we begin, so that we can simply arrive and move into the practice that is yours. And at the same time, there are teachings that will benefit your practice to have in mind. So we're going to consider 4 stages to each of the gestures. In our Kriya this month, we're opening through the throat, back of the neck, all the way through the palate of the mouth, through the canals of the ears, down into the diaphragm. These are all the components that allow us to create a quality of expression. How we sound, the breath that's necessary to create sound, what we hear. So vishuddha is the great purifier. And Shuddha is to purify, and V you could consider very. So we're purifying the space through which we speak, we express, and the space through which we receive and what we hear. Because you could be telling me, those are fantastic shoes. I really like those shoes, and I could be hearing, oh, she really doesn't like my shoes. We do this often, frequently. And so if I can clear this, I can see more clearly, I can hear more clearly, I can perceive more clearly, I can process more clearly, I can respond more clearly. And this becomes so essential to who I am in the world. We have these simple gestures, right? Of just moving the chin forward and back. We're opening the throat, the spine, forward and back, coming up under the jaw, the base of the tongue. Our hands go wide and we turn side to side. Another movement of the spine, another movement of the neck, freeing along the base of the throat, all the ways in which the blood and nerves move from the chest and the body up into the head, all the musculature of the shoulder girdle, the up and the down, the letting go. And so each of these postures we maintain for 3 minutes at a time. Some of them we hold longer. And in that holding, I want you to watch for 4 stages. And sometimes you'll have them, and sometimes you'll skip 1 or 2, depending on the day, right? The first is going to be novelty, the instruction. Oh, right, I'm up straightening and bending my elbows. Okay. And it's new to me. Even if I did it yesterday, and I'm familiar with the instruction, when I begin moving, there is a novelty, and in the novelty, my brain and my body are paying attention in a way that's based on my movement, on proprioception, on space and gravity and gesture. Right? But then once we know what we're doing, our brain is wise and it shifts that to a different part of the brain. We don't need to think so carefully about inhale, exhale. It becomes a rhythm, it becomes familiar, it becomes not such granular processing, but more, I understand the process and now I will repeat it. And in that, we become familiar and we become available for something else. It's the genius of the human mind. But in that moment, we can look for a space that opens, and it can look like boredom. Feel when the posture becomes familiar, there's a place that becomes suddenly sort of quiet, and that's where the thoughts start to show up. That's where the distraction may show up. That's where the boredom, that's where the I like or I dislike what we're doing. That's where the separation with the gesture may begin. And so when you establish your movement, settle into your breath, and notice when there's this time, oh, there I am. I'm clicking into tomorrow. I'm considering yesterday. I'm liking or I'm disliking what I'm doing. Just notice that. And sometimes naming that, knowing that's coming, can be very reassuring and useful. So the third then becomes challenge. Can I maintain this? Can I stay with it? Can I move through the boredom? Can be more difficult than moving through the physical challenge. Can I stay in the stillness? Can be more difficult than staying in the movement. So when our hands are back and our heart is high and we are breathing long and steady here, it is a monumental thing to stay in that steadiness, to stay in that quiet and that breath and that light. So the challenge is waiting after the boredom, or the boredom itself can become the challenge. Can I just stay here even though my thoughts are racing? Can I deepen my breathing, return to my body, and let it be so? I accept my racing thoughts. But I am steady and present nonetheless. And that means that when we come through that third stage of challenge, there will be a brilliance, there will be a silence, there will be a new quality of stillness and perception at the self. It's as though at the beginning we are a small self, a daily self, trotting about, rolling out our mat, getting ourselves sorted, sitting up tall. And through these 4 stages of novelty, boredom or familiarity, challenge, we can arrive at the self with a larger S. Because when we are there and when we reside there, we are not residing alone any longer. That is the self that is always in connection. And the longer that we move through these phases from small self to large self, the more deeply we connect. The more we shake off separation. And that is the greatest of cleansing that we can come to. So when we say very purified, what are we purifying? We're purifying the small self that is afraid and alone, that is distracted, that wants, that doesn't want. We're letting it pass. One gesture at a time, 3 minutes at a time, we are practicing how to remain in the deepest, fullest, sweetest alignment with ourselves that we can manage at this moment. And each day, 40 days, we go. We get stronger. Until in the midst of the traffic, in the thick of a conversation, suddenly we find, hey, this feels a lot like challenge. And you know what happens when I stay with challenge? I land in self. So talk to me, tell me more. Because I know how to stay here. I know how to hear you without taking it personally. I know how to see you. I know how to release it when I'm done. This is the energy of vishuddha. This is the great purifier of this practice, this sequence. So notice in the day-to-day the stages that we move through, the novelty of a meal. The novelty of brushing your teeth, and then brushing your teeth becomes boring and then you want to stop. But go a little further tonight and really brush your teeth after that place of boredom to a place that's like, I didn't even know that my teeth could feel this good. So we can elevate everything about ourselves if we understand that we are simply moving through a familiar pattern. And that familiar pattern is one that allows us to access the great glory of every moment. Use it well. Use it fully. Let it go. And make more. It is in all of us. It is for all of us. Any questions? You can always reach me, marthamcalpin.com. You can reach me on Instagram. You can reach me on Facebook Messenger. I am right here. Ask me your questions. And show up for class. This is how we do this. Forward and forward, day by day. We are re-articulating our fullness, our clarity, and our light. Classes every day. I can't wait. Satnam.